So looks like your boy Luke Skywalker decided to jump into the gun debate with a horrible take. He posted the following on X, formerly known as Twitter. Every day, more than 100 Americans are killed with guns. Gun homicide rates in the US are 26 times higher than other developed nations. I wear orange in honor of those who lost their lives to gun violence. You see, there's a problem with this take, and it's called context. But I want to address the second part of this X post first. The part where he says gun homicide rates in the US are 26 times higher than other developed nations. You say developed nations like the lives of people living in underdeveloped nations who also have gun violence are so insignificant to you that you don't even want to bother acknowledging their existence in this conversation. He's also limiting it to developed nations because if you include all the countries in the world, the US is nowhere near the top for gun homicides. We're 28. He doesn't even realize that he's proving the gun community's point when we say it's not a gun problem, it's a socio-economic problem. He's only comparing developed nations because clearly you're gonna have a higher gun homicide rate in a poor, underprivileged country. The problem is the vast majority of gun violence in the US comes from poor, underprivileged inner city areas. The anti-gun group where he got this stat from is so blinded by their attempts to virtue signal, they literally put this information on their website as a way to say, we understand your plight, black people. Please join us so we can use the deaths of your black boys to deny you your 2A rights. In 2022, half of the gun homicides reported to the FBI occurred in just 20 cities, including Chicago, Philadelphia, Houston, Los Angeles, Detroit, and others. Within these cities, a small percentage of the total population are people with the social networks most likely to be involved in gun violence. The majority of these people live in the neighborhoods that are characterized by high rates of poverty, racial segregation, and discrimination, and many other deep-rooted systemic and structural inequalities. So the US has a higher gun homicide rate, 26 times higher than developed nations, is not only useless, it's elitist and callous as hell and undermines your entire argument for gun control because it's essentially saying, of course we expect more gun violence from poor, underdeveloped nations. That's why we don't include them. They're poor and underdeveloped. Yeah, the same way most of the US gun violence comes from poor, underdeveloped inner city areas. The same way the vast majority of violence as a whole across the world comes from each country's poor and underdeveloped areas. So it's not a gun issue, it is a poor and underdeveloped area issue. I'm starting to think those lightsabers he was using on set radiated his brain because no way you're making arguments this dense. And now to the point about how every day more than 100 Americans are killed with guns. Sure, 100+ daily gun deaths sounds alarming, but you're lumping together self-deletions, accidents, defensive gun uses, and criminal acts. Over half of these deaths are self-deletions. Once again, it's not a gun issue, it's a mental health issue. That's like trying to solve the obesity issue by banning spoons and forks. Besides, didn't you essentially delete yourself in The Last Jedi when you force projected your appearance across the galaxy to save Leia Ray? So, should we start banning the Force now? No, because the Force can be used for evil and good, just like a gun. The issue wasn't the Force, the issue was Supreme Leader Snoke and Kylo Ren. I didn't see them trying to ban lightsabers in Star Wars. Star Wars nerd ran aside. Maybe we should start dealing with the root cause of these issues instead of trying to restrict the very thing millions of people use every year to save their lives. Which brings me to my next point. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, almost every major study on defensive gun use has found that Americans use their firearm defensively between 500,000 to 3 million times each year. There's good reason to believe that most defensive gun uses are never reported to law enforcement, much less picked up by local or national media outlets. You're over here talking about 100 people a day die from guns. On the low end, well over 1,000 people a day are saved by a gun, and over 8,000 people a day on the high end. So what color are you gonna wear on Defensive Gun Use Day? Or do people's lives only matter when it's to push your gun control agenda? I'm just saying. Now, for those wondering if the shirt I'm wearing right now comes in different states other than Texas, it does. It comes in all of the states. And now you can get 15% off of your order on shop.mrcolionnoir.com when you use the code DADDAYT. That's your entire order, not just the shirt. And in addition to this 15% off, if you order contains a t-shirt, you'll get either a white CN t-shirt or a white homosexual t-shirt for free as well. So click the link in the description section of this video and take advantage of the sale, because I assure you it is about to end soon. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you, and we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.